how would you say helping your brand or investing into your brand has grown your business overall, whether that be from a design, from website, marketing, material, all that sort of stuff?
And like you said, I've known this for 15 years. So I got to see all the different changes in marketing and design, right? From when I was 18, I got started in massage school at 17, right after I graduated early high school. And then, they taught you a little bit about marketing. And so I started my little brand. Actually, I thought about MassageFit even then, 15 years ago. And then my sister and I got on a little studio. So we started handing out, we started seeing kind of sadly the death of paper marketing, right? We literally went door to door. I can't tell you how many hundreds of flyers we bought. And we didn't really get much on that, right? So then that kind of, we kind of had a little, I wouldn't call it a failure, but we realized that this wasn't it. So I started working with chiropractic companies or physical therapists. And I saw them do their marketing. And really, I realized how much people love feeling like they're seen, like they're invited somewhere, like they're at home. All the people I've worked with really make sure that the clinic seemed like a second home. That's why people would always say, this feels like my second home. I love coming here. So I realized, how can I get that warmth into marketing, right? Without coming off cold or sales pitchy. And so little by little, it was just word of mouth. We went out and I realized in person was the best for me. And so even before this big social media wave came through, I was already had clients booked, for weeks.
Just to ask you a question about the branding, you said, feeling of warmth, like they want to go to the studio. So how would you say that, as we kind of both agree that branding it's also about like the feeling that you get from the clients, like portraying a vision. How would you say like you've kind of carved out your brand for MassageFit, and like how has it helped you with the types of clients you're getting, with like, the way that you do things and all that?
Yeah, well, I worked a lot. So for over the 15 years, I've also been able to specialize in a lot of things. That's why I didn't say I specialize in one thing. And so I had to really look deeply on what is it that I love the most and what impact do I leave with my people the most. And it was always around the gym rats, the people that have been injured, the workaholics, the high stress CEO, executives, nurses, teachers. So how do I bring all that into one place while also keeping the company, the client, and the future therapist safe and within range of scope? So I decided to go preventative and aftercare. And seeing how the fitness world has been blowing up, it was just, I loved it. For me, it was a home. So I was like, I want to continue bringing what I bring to the table, but now with other people. So that's where my brand had to shift more around. How do I get the bulk of my people? Even though I could do medical massage or I could do the feel-good spa massage, this is the large bulk of what I'm passionate about and what I feel the industry needs more of, because there really isn't much out there. So yeah, I'm carving a path that hasn't been carved yet. People like you has helped a lot.
100%. Yeah. Do you think you have a type of client that you like helping? And if so, like how do you think you've attracted them with, the stuff that you've been doing?
Well, to be very honest, I didn't know what that was going to look like when I stepped out. I was actually very nervous when I finally took the step. And then I realized it was just people like me, go-getters, people that they understand, they're smart, they educate themselves, they go and do their own research before tapping onto anything. And because, as you could tell, I ramble, they love that. I can hear me, but no, I love that you're so passionate about this. These are the type of people I want to work with. So that's why I didn't have to do a lot of marketing that way. If I tell somebody like one-on-one, how do you market yourself on what you're passionate about, and people will they start flocking to you. Like literally, there's waves of people that would just come in because one or two people went out there started saying. So now how do you translate that into website branding and social media marketing? Is where I needed to have somebody like you. I dove all my time and energy into being the best massage therapist, the best mentor, the best friend, right? Because part of that comes with that too. It's not a cold service. It's not like you're purchasing clothes, and even that could be but this is human touch, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, is that so you have the typical stuff doesn't work. Or you're going to retain or attract the wrong type of clientele that isn't going to flow with what you're trying to do. So it's a very tricky one. So I imagine it could be very difficult for you on how to figure out how to do that. But because you're passionate about it, you make it happen, right? I mean, imagine the way I tap into the passion of my people. Like, okay, do you love to paint, but now your shoulder isn't working? Let me help you with that. Do you love running your business and helping your team? Let me help you do that and be calmer, better about it. Are you a professional UFC fighter that's getting ready to go to your big first fight in a while? That here for you. So you tap into the passions of people, and that's how you work well together.
Yeah. I think what's interesting as well in the way that you approach massage is solving a problem, right? Like all the time you mentioned, like you're a barber, you're holding up your head all day for clipping hair, your shoulders gonna hurt, and really solving that core problem. And so I would say, how do you address what problem you need to solve for the client, and then how you actually go about doing that?
Sure. That's an interesting question because this all goes into all different types of services, right? And especially now you're seeing it blow up where it's the interpersonal ones, right? Like estheticians, lash techs, barbers, massage therapists. Obviously, I think interesting enough they call it the pink collar. It's the blue collar, which I heard that before. Yeah, and that's mostly the girly stuff, right? For the girlies, so as they say. But really, there's this other market out there now where people have been able to go up on their own, and it is because of that, because they are solving people's problems, and they realize I don't need to be at a big brick and mortar. I actually prefer being at a one stop little tiny spot and be able to do it my way. And so that's where it becomes a bit of everything is scattered. What I'm trying to solve, and I guess your question was more for my clients, but really, I think ultimately I've always been trying to solve the problem. How do I get what I do that people love to as many people as possible? And that's where it becomes difficult, right? And that's where you have to start training, mentoring, and then teaching them how to become creative problem solvers, not necessarily how to solve one problem alone, or how to give them a checklist of what to do. It's about how to be creative and use your critical thinking skills to be able to make that happen at that client's level too. I imagine with websites, there are people that are ready to go and they have a whole list of what they need. And then you have the people that don't know what they're doing, right? And they need your help. Same thing with massage. They get people that are like, hey, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. Can you do this? Yes, let's make it happen. Easy, right? In and out. The people that don't know, you have to ease them in, whether I have to ease them from spa massages into the hardcore medical or sports massage versus people that are used to the hardcore stuff and bringing them in more for the lymphatic and feel good stuff that's going to help you bring down your nervous system so you could actually recover. And it all comes down to education. I think every job that I've had, whether it was as an optician, helping people get their contacts and their glasses, or a real estate agent finding their apartment or future home, to massage therapy, is how can I help you find what you need and educate you so you can make the best choice? It's not selling. This is what's available. This is what fits your budget, your needs, and what would you like to do?
Yeah, I love that. And so can I focus in on like your SIP, or your marketing process? So, over the last, 15 years or so you've been doing this, I'm sure you've tried like a ton of tactics and different strategies. So I'd say, what would you say has worked for like different marketing things that you've tried? What investments were worth it? And I guess based on what you've seen, like what wasn't worth it? What did you wish to do differently to show like that?
Well, again, going back to the whole paper stuff, I think it's still great to have. I love paper marketing and especially designing it and working with professionals that help me get my point across. So I think those are great for like in-person stuff. I still believe, at least in my industry, the in-person works ideally, right? Yeah. Or like, for example, Reggie's an amazing Thai massage practitioner that works with MassageFit. He recently blew up from, I think, 800 followers on TikTok to like 50,000. So there's so many different ways now that you can get creative. I think as soon as that happened, his books got filled up. And so it literally just went from, okay, let's keep pushing it. Let's keep changing and pivoting. Same thing goes back to education. You went from being able to show what he's doing and kind of replying to people's messages. And that is a thing you need to do. You need to address concerns and questions. Well, you don't want to be fighting the people that are just there to get attention. So for me, it's like preventing all that is ideal. So put out the education. What is it that you're doing? What is it serving? And how can they get to you? And then I solve all the questions, that's into DM, they'll go to your website. So I think education is still going to be a big, big part of the marketing for me. Again, for me, what is your target audience? For me, I keep saying for me. So that's why I got into a private training facility, right? Where my target audience was walking around me, even though rent is, probably triple what a studio that size costs. I saw the benefit in the community, the target audience, the visuals that I wanted, the professionalism that I wanted, everybody there's running their own business, just using the same facility.
I think that's super interesting too, because for the price that you pay for, let's say, in-person studio where you have foot traffic, things like that, first, if you dump the same money into like a paid advertiser show online, like in-person versus online, how do you think those two investments, because you've done both, how do they differ? And you've obviously had a lot of success with the in-person investment. So I guess how does that play into your business model? How could that play into others?
Yeah. So I think obviously like kind of the law of proximity, you're close to those people. Eventually they start asking questions. So that's an easy way to get in there. If you don't know what your brand is, right? That's the other thing too, is you have to have brand identity. What is your brand? Who are you serving? And what is it that you're offering? If you can't answer those three questions, you shouldn't even be thinking about running ads or even running a space yet. It's like, okay, where can I access these people? And so like that's what I've done the most is literally targeted ads. What are you targeting? If you're just blasting stuff out there, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get random stuff. Instead of being like a cut off shotgun, you want to be precise. And I think that's what works best. So you have to figure out that and ask those questions. And it works with great people that have more experience that kind of help you round that out. Those dark spaces you don't know yet. So for me, I think using a combination of both and trial and error, it just depends. We're in Dallas. There's a huge market. If I would just target base in Dallas, I could probably pull things up pretty quickly. But I was just kind of learning how to bring on a team, how to train them, how to lead them properly. And so moving forward to 2026, we're going to go hard and we're going to be pinpointing the stuff that we have learned. But again, it took 3 years of being in the studio for me to gather all this data through the ups and downs of life. I think that's where a lot of people don't really realize that that's going into that time. Even if it feels like you're losing or you're stagnant, use that and collect as much data as possible. So that in that way, every quarter you go back is like, okay, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and just keep pumping it in. Yeah.
I agree. And what I think is also interesting about your business is that most, say, online service providers forget that they could market their business in person. It's just not like native, but to you, because it's an in-person service, it kind of makes sense. Like, oh, let's make sure to design the room nice. Let's make sure you have a nice sign as design. And so how much, I guess the question would be, how much importance do you think you should put into, say, an in-person space, like framing the scene, having a nice design? Like, do you think that really helps you get more business, helps you, that's wonderful, get about chain more business, and how does that play out for you?
Great question, as always. Yeah, I think details matter, especially when you start working with high-end quality clients, whether, again, they're CEOs, executives, or professional athletes. The details matter. For them, every single little detail can determine whether they're going to be a champion or win or not. And same thing with the CEOs. For them, they're big on the detail. So I would say it's extremely, and again, I learned that from the clinics that I first worked at. You walk in, whether it was little candies at the front, whether it's a nice comfy couch instead of those cold chairs, I think that customer experience is absolutely necessary. And if you don't, again, that's kind of where it goes into maybe tying back a little bit to going viral. I've met a lot of people that have gone viral, but they don't turn that into business, right? And I think like with Reggie, what we did differently is we were kind of staggering that and bringing up more about who he is as a professional. So whenever he did go viral, people started booking. There's a lot of people that go viral early on and they just keep trying to go to that viral thing. Just because it's viral doesn't mean that it's going to actually reproduce or produce business. And a lot of times it doesn't. Right? Or if you don't have your systems in place, that could be really bad. Then you're going to get a bunch of bad reviews. And that's going to, having 10 bad reviews on Google, I have a feeling is going to be worse than having 100,000 followers.
I think I want to focus on that too, because I know that's huge in your business. So let's say Google reviews. We work with a ton of different clients who don't focus as much on getting testimonials. Let's say they're Google reviews, even reviews on Facebook, things like that. Like, how has focusing on getting these 5-star reviews and having clients post about it, how's it affected your business?
It helps a lot. Actually, a lot of my best clients that I probably have over 100 sessions found me on Google, and they were a little upset at first because even if you don't have a brick and mortar place, you could actually still have Google reviews. And you do that by signing on as a mobile service and send your postcard and then to your house just to make sure you're a real person. It's also actually already collecting reviews before I even had my studio as self-made. And so this guy was like, hey, why is it, how come I couldn't find you? Like I looked everywhere. The only time I could find you was when I like 5 stars only. And then I found you and you're the best massage therapist. I've tried so many and you're a national treasure. This was the best, like the best feeling you can get, from the stranger that found you online and then got a massage and it was like upset that they didn't find you earlier. Yeah, that story, I can't reproduce that on social media. Yeah, to be honest. I mean, I've met a lot of amazing people on social media that have the same turn effect, but this guy was literally searching for me. He didn't come across me, right? And so that, I think for me, that's, again, goes down to, are you trying to do a broad expansion, or are you trying to be very targeted with what you want to do? And so for me, it's very hard to get other people to ask for reviews. Over the last 15 years of working at different clinics, at different spaces, that seems to be one of the most difficult, and I don't understand why. Because if you love what you do, you know that you poured your love into it, and you'd hope that they'd be able to at least just say, here's a 5 star. So I think asking that, on top of just a quick one for service people that I've, for some reason, have a hard time getting people to do, is just asking, when would you like to book again? They're just tiny little things that, again, goes to experience. I started doing it because people were getting upset. They're like, hey, I'm sorry, can you please remind me after? I just come out so relaxed. So it's not that I'm pushing my business on you. I'm helping them be able to make sure they secure a spot. When you pivot that thought process into that, you realize I'm doing this for them, not for me, but it goes hand in hand. And it's just professionalism. At that point, you're serious about it. It's not like, oh, I need money now, so now I'm going to start promoting. People catch on to that stuff very quickly.
From a sales perspective, how important do you think, let's say like a client comes in, they have an amazing session. How important do you think it is to get them to book again, to ask them that question, to make sure that they come back and actually make sure that you can secure the appointment there?
Well, again, it's just, it's education, right? You're educating them because they don't know. They're just like, oh, is this a one-time fix? They don't know. They don't do this in and out. But just educating them. Well, look, based off of your needs, and let's say you have a fight in 6 weeks. Let's get you in and let's have a plan. Imagine the same thing with websites. Like, great, we built your website. Now these are some of the other things that I can help you with that will help go along with it. And you need to have momentum so you can actually maximize on this. Same thing with massage. Like, if you really want to get the full effects, before when I wasn't booked out for months, I would have them come in once a week for 2 to 3 weeks if it was impeding them from doing work, gym, or something that they love. So it's like, hey, let's get at this ahead so you can get the best experience. And then we find that maintenance. If they never come back but because I feel great, that's a great thing for me, because honestly, they would send 5 or 6 people. So for me, I don't like the whole thing of like, how do I tie them up for as long as possible? How do I push packages on people? Hey, I don't want to push that. I want to push, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to serve. And that means this is what I can do is when I can do it. If this isn't the right time, it's okay. Come back. I'll be there when you are.
I was going to say, I could talk about that exact idea for hours, because so many people ask me, okay, when you build them a website, the problem is solved, right? But it's like, well, yes, I solved the problems. They're going to refer their business. So it's not that I'm losing a customer. I'm gaining like an amazing relationship and a long-term client. They'll probably come back and need other things. It's the problem is, if you did your job right, they will refer their business. And so I think reframing it as like, if you fix someone's shoulder after they had an injury and things like that, I think reframing that as, oh, I lost a customer I solved that guy's problem.
No, you have that walking testimonial. Exactly. And I think you saw that as we worked together. I just like expect excellence, to be honest, and that might come off a little strong, but that's the way that I promote my business. That's the way that I promote myself. All about the details and being excellent in every facet of that. So whenever you come into my circle, I expect that of you because you see how I'm behaving and how I handle things. So if it doesn't align, honestly, those people kind of just fall off because they don't want to keep up. So with that being said, it was really easy to promote you. Right? Because I was like, this dude's always on top of it. He sent out a cold message, but he was genuine about it. And that's what got me hooked. And then after that, we've been working ever since then. So for me, that is what I think is also a big part of my growth, is aligning myself with amazing professionals. And I think that's one of the hardest things for them to do, is to see it themselves. So I expect excellence. So all the people that are around me are like that too. So it's easy to just say, hey, you need a meal prep service? Hit up my boy Oscar. You need a website? Hit up David. He's amazing at what he does. And so it just becomes this network of effortless. We're not counting stuff. Like, I've never been big on that. For me, my main purpose and mission is to help people be better, do better, and feel better. So me, everything else is just, if it doesn't align that way, then it's not part of it. But I'm not counting how many people did I send you, how many people have you sent me. All I know is that once your people come to the door, I'm going to treat them like I would treat you. And I think that's where people have to push away from this big push of like, oh, you got to grind, you got to go hard. Honestly, if that's in your blood, you need to be told, hey, slow down. And not to slow down for the sake of, yes, smell the roses, but also be efficient. Because how many times you get blasted through things, and if you look back, you're like, man, if I would have just taken a second to think about what I was doing or to evaluate, I could have done these 2 things together, or I could have been more efficient with it. I wouldn't have burnt out. I wouldn't have, burnt all my cash flow on this thing that didn't really proceed, but I thought it was going to look good on me. Point is, you always have to take a step back.
No, I agree. And I think you kind of touched something interesting about like referral marketing, because I think a lot of the times clients that I worked with, or just people I work with all the time, are so obsessed with how can I get an extra conversion from meta ads, or how can I get an extra conversion from my websites. If you treated your clients so well, you probably had an extra 5 referrals. So how important has referral marketing been for your business? And then how have you kind of went about strategizing around
Sure.
that?
Honestly, it was the most important part for me. And then, I loved speaking to the market scale team, and we talked about that, about how at first it started just word of mouth. And then I started working with a lot of entrepreneurs because they were attracted to what I was doing. We had the same pain points, and then we were referring back and forth. And now we're at this level where we have businesses referring back and forth. Now I am a business, right? So before I became my own brand, or before I kind of created MassageFit, um, I would think that's the only thing that I would do. I didn't have social media for 3 years. So yeah, I don't, this whole thing about going viral, like I love it because like, yes, you can do that. You're special. You should showcase that. For me, it was never an option because I got too many of the weird people. Yeah. Social media was a jungle back then. You know what I mean? But it was free for all. So it wasn't my main thing, but now we can. So I'm teaching my practitioners how to take that same love and warmth and put it into social media so that people are showed. Because I mean, how many can you staring at the screen right now, right? We're always staring at the screen now. So if you don't go with, now especially we're utilizing, especially working with you, I was exposed to a lot of AI, a lot of automation. That stuff saves not just time and energy, but money. That's somebody else you don't have to hire. Yes, it's not going to replace somebody completely, but as a person that's like me, that's struggling, that's counting every penny, that's bootstrapping this, all that stuff matters, especially if it goes with the new times, because if you don't, you will get left behind.
Yeah. So how we could talk about that as well. So how would you say that AI, all of the latest technology has helped your business? Because I would think that most people wouldn't imagine, oh, in the massage world, AI, it's a physical, you're an in-person service as an online thing. Maybe there's not a lot of efficiency there, but how would you say it has helped you with it to your advantage?
I ramble and my mind goes nonstop. So in a way, it's kind of created a second brain and a way for me to dump what my big thoughts are and be able to, and that's what it reminds me of English back, whatever, 2005, 2004. I don't know if they do it anymore, but we'd always start off with a brainstorm and we had these steps on how to create the essay. I always loved the brainstorm because there's like dumb stuff and then you circle the things that are the biggest and then you start creating little segues on that. And so that's what Chat GPT essentially has done for me. Is it saves my projects. I'm able to kind of tweak them and come back to them. Because even though I wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do, let's say 5 years ago, I was already planning for the things I want to do. Man, even 10 years ago, when I was massaging and people were snoring away, my mind would drift into thoughts of like, okay, maybe I can't control this. Maybe I can't do this now, but how would I handle this later? Now with AI, I'm able to put that in there, come back to it later or refine it, or work with somebody, a professional like yourself, to be like, hey, this is the vision that I have. I can't articulate what I want, but now AI has been able to show you what the things that I need. And so it's bridging a lot of gaps. And nothing is, I don't think anything in this world is ever going to just be a plug and play, give you the solution to become a millionaire. It's not going to work that way. At the end of the day, it's always about who you are, what you want, what you could provide, and then how do you put that out there? If AI or even like Sintra, haven't used it much, that has like 6 different bots. At least it lets you kind of filter out that commotion is going in your mind.
Yeah.
So with that, and then just opening my eyes up to other ways to do things, right? Like little by little, I'm learning that lean is the way for me because I'm able to utilize a lot of these to be business.
Have you seen a lot of gains? So from a strategy side, I completely agree. Like that is like, I think it's an underrated feature, or at least not as discussed, because I think the strategy, right, of just being able to just put your ideas into ChatGPT to have it outline your things, even just to like writing a document, have it start your document for you. I think having those gains, but on the admin side, have you seen a lot of gains for yourself?
We're building out those now, but yes, even down to like, I don't know, teaching you how to use Excel or how to use Google spreadsheets, things like that. I guess I'm going to be using AI mainly to automate my back end. And be able to connect to like HubSpot and all these things. And it's just about creating a web that's going to be strong enough and finding those leaks and stopping them. I think that's a lot easier to do it from bird's eye view. And sadly, I don't know, maybe people will contradict this, but it's harder to put that on somebody too, let's be honest. When you're building something new, when you're trying to figure out how to do the systems, I've asked many people questions and they're going to tell you what's worked for them and what their vision for you is. But when you're building something new where it's not in the market yet, I think AI and technology has been a great help. And working with young professionals like yourself that does have that critical thinking live and active and seeing for the future too.
Yeah. You mentioned HubSpot. Are there any popular CRMs in like the massage like services space or any that you get think of?
So I truly believe that that's one of the biggest things people should get is a booking system, right? Which a lot of them come with CRMs and stuff like that. So again, when you're starting off slowly, you want to find those things that kind of combine things and make your life easier. They might not be the best at this feature, the best at that feature, but at least it lets you kind of start creating some systems. So I think it's just whatever works for you. There's a lot of stuff out there. You could always go to YouTube University or set up a consultation with a great professional like yourself that's like, hey, I need some help with trying to automate these things, or I'm trying to, like with that wonderful social media marketing person named Panda, she helped me automate my affiliate programs. Like, how do I put that into a beautiful thing? Sometimes ChatGPT can't do that, right? Somebody that does specialize in that. But because of ChatGPT, I was able to say, hey, this is kind of what I'm going for. Can you help me polish it up?
Yeah. What's interesting is I wonder, a lot of people focus, as much on the front end, but on the back end, right? Having the right CRM and that data in place, how is that saved, or at least gotten you more customers, retain more business for you?
No, that's hard to have. Yeah, that's your engine. I mean, if that's not working well, if it's having misfires, you're going to have issues. And that's why I'm in the process of switching over now. And you have to be open to that too, because things change. And even though the current booking system that I'm using had most of the features that I needed, there's a little bit of hiccups as it started growing out. I'm not sure what's happening, but they're starting to lose the quality that it had before. So now I'm in the market of, finding something else that does fit. And this new one that I'm going to use has actually a lot more stuff that kind of meets my needs now than 3 years ago, right? Where now we're going to push it to mobile. So now I need something that's going to be able to track where they're going to be at, what areas they're going to serve. And even this one will end up creating a standalone mobile app for me, which is fantastic. I could dump 10 grand to building my own app, but then maintenance and all that stuff, I think, having a reliable engine is a steal.
Yeah. And you can, obviously, as a website company, we're obsessed with the booking stuff. So to ask you questions on that, so as a website company, we're obviously obsessed with the online booking stuff and the conversion rate on that. So what would you say are some of the changes you've made for your booking system that has helped people go through the funnel to actually go through, want to book with you, enjoy their experience? And what are some things in when you're creating your booking system and your services list and all that has detracted customers you want to stay away from?
Sure. That's a beautiful question because it reminded me of the first time somebody booked that I didn't know, right? That was always word of mouth, but just seeing that and then it's just started flowing. You start seeing more and more bookings. It's pretty amazing because it makes you more of a professional. People realize, okay, this guy's taking it serious. He's not putting these appointments on iCal, even though that worked for me for the first couple of years. But even then, that first time somebody double booked or I accidentally double booked somebody, my heart sunk and I'm like, oh, this needs to stop. So that's when I started to research. What can I do? Because it's also saving you time. At first, no big deal. I was sending, 6 people their confirmation for the next couple of days. Once I started going up into doing it every day, you start missing that stuff. People don't show up. People don't pay. People don't pay the cancellation fee. It's not just automating it. It's protecting your business because you start leaking in multiple places. You're gonna go under fast. And so it helped me have a more professional view to the public. And then I added Google to that, combined to it. Now I'm able to get strangers I never thought. But because of the way that I did market the reviews, even educating on what services we offer, people go on Google. Now I have, several we'll have nothing but 5-star reviews, which is fantastic. That helps a lot too. But 1 or 2 bad ones is not bad. But I'm rambling.
Do you track a lot of data on how many people, how many times they come into the studio, that sort of stuff? What's the most important metrics that you track?
I mean, really, right now over the last, couple of years, I've been kind of just trial and error and trying to figure out different things. So I should have been tracking a little bit more. But I definitely like to track the cancellations. How many people haven't showed up? And that way you can go and follow back up. Or if you have a booking system, that sets up automated messages like, hey, you canceled your last appointment. And we'd love to see you back. Here's 10% off. I think stuff like that is hugely important on the operations side, right? So if you are a business operator, if you are a business owner too, but at some point you have to pull away from the stuff that allowed you to survive in order for you to thrive. And that means stepping away, not to just sit back and count the money. I think everybody always thinks that. Yeah, no, it's you could look at the analytics that you actually care as the owner of this company. You can hire somebody to do it, but all they're going to be doing is collecting data. You still have to look at it. Now you have so many different programs out there that do allow you to see that. So again, mine has a lot of features. It's just a little hard to decipher them. Yeah. But I even have I've been number one across this big system in all of the United States for many, many times. Like how much revenue we're bringing in, how many bookings we have. And even though I thought at first I was going to be just a little bit of a game, it actually is really privileged software that it is. Because it allows you to know, okay, dang, so out of thousands of other companies, we're top 5 every single month. That means we're doing something good. Not just on revenue, but bookings, repeat customers. I think all that stuff is very, very important because you start trying to find those leaks before they actually turn into a full leak.
And it's interesting you mentioned like 10% off promotion, things like that. I always tell clients all the time to look at running promotion specials like whenever you can, and I think it's just helpful for marketing. How has running specials, promotions, got you more customers, retain customers, that sort of stuff?
See, I guess that's one of the, to tie back a little bit to your last question, one of the first things that I really looked at is when are my slow months, right? And instead of being upset or worried or like, oh man, everything's going to tank, I'm like, what can I do during these slow months that I've been putting off and I'm too busy? It's great that I have amazing clients that I don't need to have to continue pushing promotions for. But those slow months, easy. Or now that I have a team, how do I get them busy? Promotions work really, really well. It's just they have to be targeted. If you're just constantly running at 20%, that is what hurts me about some of these places. Like, oh, you're getting 75% off. It's 75% off for the last 5 years. Come on now. People pay attention to these things. So I believe you have to be very intentional with everything you do. If you're just trying to run a business to sell it, go open up a laundry, what's it called? Laundromat? Yeah, laundromat, yeah, or a dry cleaner, or something that is just in and out, quick and out. But if you're working with personal, in a personal capacity with people, whether it's like their dream business or their money or their body, I think you have to be very, very intentional. If not, again, those bad reviews can start stacking up, especially the good ones.
How do you also balance between hosting, let's say, good promotions that attract clients but don't detract from your brand? Because, you kind of bring up a good point. If you're the company that's always doing 75% off, that doesn't portray as much of a premium brand in my mind.
100%. So same thing with playing with the numbers, whatever. Look at psychology. Is that something that is attractive to you? Then fine. For me, no. I want the numbers to be, because me as a consumer, when I look at that stuff, I don't want to be playing around with these fake numbers either. Just tell me what it is, and that way either I can make it work or I can't. If it's something that's a little too much for me, then that's when I wait for that one promotion to try them out or something. Or doing something like, hey, your first one is 20% off or whatever it is. I think that works better than just running a non-stop promotion, because again, you're just evaluating yourself. And also is the type of clientele that you're going to attract. Do you want the person that's always buzzing from place to place to get a deal? Or do you want the person that's going to not care what that is? Because when you actually market your business correctly and your services correctly, you're not really competing against others. And in my opinion, even if it's in the same market, even against other massage therapists, I promise what I do is completely different than what. I don't care how many you bring on. You could bring 12 massage therapists. I might find one that's like what I do, but it doesn't. So when people see me, okay, that's his price, and I want what he offers. I see what his people say about him, so I want that, and they go after it.
So, yeah, no, that's a good point. And on that, as you're able to charge high prices, why do you think? What do you think you've done to be able to justify high prices? Great results, to make your brand feel premium.
Sure. Well, I had to, right? It took, and that's what I want to teach people. And that's what I have been able to teach my people is what it took me 10 years to do in a year or 2 years. I'm a people pleaser. It's what makes me, a great massage therapist, a great son, a great friend. But it makes me terrible at business, right? Because if I could do this, I'd do it for free, to be honest. And you can come trade and give me some eggs, avocados, a chicken, whatever it may be. I would do it. Let's be honest. But that also is what hurt me a lot. They wrote many times. And then I realized, man, hospital bills get expensive. These physical therapy bills get expensive. This time off that I'm not working, I'm not getting paid, right? So it's not like I have sick days. I don't have vacation days. If you want to take off a week, you got to work 80 hours of the week before that, right? So it gets a little tough. So that's where the pricing comes in. Again, being very intentional. And to be very honest, my clients are the ones that started paying me more, right? And they're like, hey, he's we're doing this. And then once I started bringing on a team, that's when I realized, okay, we got to be serious about these things. What is the market? I want to have the best product, the best service at the best price. That doesn't mean the cheapest price either. I always call it a Metro PCS model because I feel like, again, over the last 15 years, I've been able to see how these companies have scaled. And you have stuff like The Joint, Massage Envy, Spirit Airlines. I consider all those the Metro PCS. And that's not saying a bad thing. That targeted a lot of people, and that's why they were as successful as they were at the beginning, was because they were able to say, hey, you want the bare minimum? This is what the bare minimum costs, right? I don't want to do that. I'm the opposite. I hate nickeling and diming. I know what I want. Can you give it to me? What's the price? Don't upsell me. Don't do this stuff. If you do it in a gentle way. It's like, hey, I noticed that there's none.
Well, yeah, I think that's interesting to touch on. So, what would you say the main things that you're trying to build with your company versus, the business model and the marketing that like Massage Envy and the Joy Short? Because I've seen those places everywhere.
The code, and that's what I loved. I watched one of those in-person interviews, and he asked one of the guys, how he was able to sell, you know, 10, 15 restaurants. I can't remember. He said, what I would do? I'd grab my team and I'd take them to the best restaurant in town, and we wouldn't be looking for the good things. We weren't looking at the stuff that we're doing great. We are looking at things that we're doing wrong, right? That we could do better. And that's how they maximize. That's how you're able to pull the people that don't want to go there because of the negative. You're like, hey, we do this. So similar to, I believe, Chick-fil-A, they started because they didn't like the way that McDonald's and Burger King were doing it, so they changed it. Same thing with Massage Fit. It's not so much because I wasn't liking what they weren't doing. It's just that what I needed wasn't out there. I'd have to shuffle through 10 different massage therapists to find the one that can give me the deep pressure, that's educated, that's going to keep me safe, that's not going to hurt me. And those are all the pain points that you run into people that go to those places, because it is just a cookie cutter place. For them, every massage needs to look the same, and for their reasons, right? Because this is the product I like. This is the price that I like. I want to know whether I go with David, Juan, whoever, I'm gonna get the same thing, or at least similar. So I took that, and I want to do that with me too. With like, okay, I have all these issues with being able to get people to go somewhere else or go with my team members, because they only want me. So how do I recreate that while still keeping it a tailored service? That's where the difficulty comes in. As a business head, you're like, no, what I need this to be cut clean. Where are my margins? Where are we profiting? And where can we profit more? You're looking at that stuff again when it comes down to the personal stuff. So I've kind of done like a upside down version of it.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Maybe I don't have the funds to have, dump thousands of dollars into marketing, or to have a big brick and mortar with beautiful layouts and an experience that people are gonna love. So I turned it around. My service, people, they don't care whether I'm at a backyard or at a premium high end facility. They're gonna follow me anywhere, and that's something that nobody can take away from me. And I've had to restart many times, and I'll restart as many times as I need to, with the intention of providing the best service, best product, for the people that are paying for it. So to answer your question, I looked at all the stuff that I was having issues with, not being able to find a professional that could fit my needs and tailor the sessions to me. The pricing wasn't an issue because people understand, once you go through all the nickeling and diming, my rates are actually very competitive to with these other people.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm curious on, because I know you worked with some very large, B2B clients, very large companies, and how has marketing to them to acquire those clients versus a B2C, just regular person coming for free who wants to work with you, wants to get a massage. How is marketing to those sorts of companies different? And what strategies have you done? Just talking about that, I guess.
I think that's huge, because I think that's what set me apart too from other amazing practitioners out there. I think it started with high school, man. I went to the Academy of Irving ISD, which was kind of like a public magnet school. They wanted to bring something to the kids that couldn't afford it all the time, right? So you had to write an essay of why you want to go into this school. versus your home school, and they would have bus routes that would take them up to where the school's at. And so one, I think that being like, okay, there's exclusivity there, right? That means there's urgency there. That makes you want to sign up and do this, right? So that's one thing that I've learned along the path is creating urgency, not fake urgency, but being again efficient. So at the school, they would also do they would set there was no sports, no music. They dumped all that money into like professional career training, right? So I was in technology field. At first, I thought I was going to be an architect or an engineer, and I had the brains for it. I just didn't want to be stuck staring at a screen. I used to say in a dark room, but I'm in a dark room the majority of the time now. But point is, every Wednesday they would have Dress for Success Wednesday, so I'd have to wear my like what I would look like if I was going to go to an interview. So I've been wearing ties. I've been learning how to tie ties before anybody else would teach me, right? And so I realized the importance of that and the way I carried myself. And that transcended into everything, the way I open the door for people and stuff like that. So it's just my presence. I don't really have to sit there and have a long list of certifications or degrees or something. They just immediately through the door, they're like, okay, this guy to me is the real deal. And so because of that, I think those businesses do respect me a little bit more because they know that I come in with education. All my principles and my values are their principles and values. You know, I'm all about being professional. Um, if you want to go have somebody blasting music and smoking and doing whatever, then fine, go to their house, go to their backyard, do their thing. But if you want a professional service, that's what's going to differentiate me. Yeah, because inevitably, yes, people might take my therapist. Maybe they'll want to book on the site to them, but inevitably, that therapist is not going to be available. It's going to get too busy, and they're going to have to come back. And where are they going to come back to somewhere where they know that they're going to get the service that they need, the price point that they can afford, and um, the quality of customer service.
Yeah. So it's a lot about customer service, it's a lot about professionalism. Burnout, I'm assuming, played into
Yeah,
that.
too, and again, educating them for what you're providing to them, right? Like again, for them, like, oh, it's just a massage. Well, I'm a massage therapist. I've been doing this my whole adult life, so I know the ins and outs of it. That person may not. Some people don't even know what the difference between a physical therapist, a chiropractor, and a massage therapist is, right? Even though we work under the same kind of umbrella, we're very different. So providing that to, again, targeting what those business people need. You want employee morale to go up. You want the flight to experience. You don't want to just have a fancy gym and all this stuff that hasn't worked, right? They want a reason to want to come in. So let me do that for you, and to cater to the actual employee's pain points. Tight neck, tight shoulders, restless legs. They're stuck in front of that computer all day. I could literally help that. Took 15 minutes. And then they keep asking, what can I do to do in between it? So now we've actually created a whole another market within these corporate clients, not just high-end Fortune 100 companies, but also construction companies, where some of those are pretty up there too. But point is, anywhere from 14-person company to a 2,000 employee company. We're able to serve them, whether it's from just doing chair massage to teach them how to do stretches that are going to help them with their specific pain points, to breath work, to bringing new stuff to them that allows them to bring down those biggest issues that drive those insurance rates all the way up. Instead of dumping $1,000 in a pizza party, have 4 massage therapists come and work on your people, and they're going to be happier than you can imagine.
So how does the offer, let's say like the way in the business model that you approach these companies versus, let's say, like someone who's coming in to get a massage themselves, like how do you approach these companies differently, or like how would you structure the offer and what you're selling to them, given your service?
It's a good question. And so, to be completely honest, too, a lot of that stuff comes to me through in person as well, because I am putting myself out there into the places that they're going to be at as well, because we both are, again, interested in the same values and practices. So we just start and chatting it up, and then we realize, okay, cool, this is a service that I can bring. But let's say I was at a random place, let's say at an HR department gathering, right? Then that's you'd approach it by those points as the pain points, how often you can get to them, how many people you can serve, and down to the numbers. That's what people don't really get. The people that make decisions in corporate aren't going to be the same people that are motivated by this grind mentality. They're actually very turned off to it. They don't want smoke and mirrors. They want direct numbers. They want what you're going to bring to the table and how fast you can get there. Those are some of the main things that I would say. You can't sit there and try to like charm them into using you. Maybe, but they're not going to become repeat customers. But if you're able to showcase them everything else that we've already built, all the reviews, the team, the things that clients and team members say, they're like, wow, I want to bring that here and I want to mimic that. How can I create that for my employees?
Yeah, it's almost like with a B and C client in the massage world, like it's not more emotional, but there is a little bit more to the sale. Like we're going to help you, we're going to fix this problem, whatever. But I think for a B2B client, it's way less of the emotion. It's just what is the problem we're solving? How it's going to, it's like grow revenue. And even for you, if you're at a construction company, you're helping them with that. I can imagine that'd be a very easy sales pitch. Your guys are in pain. They're not going to want to work. So wouldn't you want a massage therapy company to come in and help them so they can work longer?
Yeah.
I could see where the offer changes a little bit.
Like absolutely, because what are their pain points, right? The individual's pain points are going to be that they can't go to work. The company's pain points are going to be that they can't keep their employees, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do that? How do we make it more attractive? How can let me be your vessel to let them know that you actually care, right? Maybe they have to be cold. Maybe they have to do all that stuff to keep business operating, but let us bring people in here that are going to make people feel like they're at home as well as work.
And so, do you have any advice to creating like these corporate wellness programs for other, let's say, like service businesses
Sure.
that are similar to yours or massage specifically?
Sure. Well, I mean, there's a lot of massage therapists out there. Same thing. They have a client that maybe is an HR, or they just give their info to HR and they hire them one on one. Those things work really well too, and that's how you can get your door into one. It's the same thing. That'd be more of a referral, but if it's a great way to get your clientele, that the type of clientele that you want, because these are people that are going to have consistent pain points that you can help throughout the process as a massage therapist. But if you're trying to cater to corporate, is that's what I would suggest is what is it that you do, what services and products do you provide, and how does that fit into the corporate world? Um, and it's just as difficult because I think it pretty much be only massage therapists, unless you're a breathwork specialist, even a personal trainer. But those market very differently. For me, because I'd say 50% of my client base are business professionals, it's very easy for me to be able to tell them what I do.
Yeah.
So it is a very difficult thing. That's why not a lot of people do it, because you also have to have your insurance in place. You have to do a lot of the stuff that you should be doing anyway. But some people just don't. They find a comfortable place and they stay comfortable. When you're talking about these business, you're talking about a lot of money. You're talking about people that take it very, very seriously. So you have to bring your A game. You can't show up with the wrinkly shirt and you have to bring your A game. And so that's my advice. If you want to step into the corporate world, you're not going to be able to do the things that worked for the people that you meet out on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring everything that you need, the knowledge, the good
And
side.
yeah, and I've seen this across all the different companies you work with. So it's most of the time larger ticket sales, for massage, any other service you're selling to companies versus consumers. However, that also brings like another layer of like professionalism they need. And I feel like that's kind of like a huge note. What you've touched on Lim, throughout this, the talk today has been like the importance of customer service, professionalism, and then also like how do you market that to actually show people that you have that with the reviews, with the website, all that sort of resource.
Absolutely. Now that we're stepping, I've gotten a lot of really great experience at running a team, and I love that, and I'm ready to step into a bigger scale, and so with now, soft launching our mobile service in January, marketing and design is going to change a little bit too, because now we're going to be going into a broader market. Where when I was at the training facility, I'm going to, it was mostly to gym rats, goes for the people that are seeing that stuff, right? And then they have to be okay with somebody deadlifting 500 pounds, or when someone's having an event or some music, blasting. You have to be ready for that. But now that we're marketing into the homes, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little more polished. It's going to be way more, absolutely about professional education. That's always going to be it. But being able to partner up with companies that once you get deeper and you go into these verticals, you realize that you really can't do it all. Even before at a smaller scale, I thought I wanted to be the personal trainer too and be able to teach them how to correct the exercises. Now that I'm at this facility, I'm able to refer out to them and we refer back to, business to business in a small scale. But now that we're getting into these bigger phases, I need to work with people like Marcus Scale and with Omis that is going to be able to do the stuff that I will never be able to be as good as y'all, because that's what y'all do in and out, just like y'all will never be able to do a massage like I do, right? I'll never be able to build a website like you. I'll never be able to run an ad campaign like you. I'll never be able to have this set up here, right? And I know I said never say never, but sometimes you got to break your head and be like, okay, Let's clash these things out. And what is it that I can do? For me, I can train and educate massage therapists to be the best massage therapists in town. So let me focus on that. And companies like this, where you have these beautiful studios here where you can record and get your point across properly in the best way, man, that's where you're competing against, is teams versus teams. It's not individuals. I'm not here to claim I'm the best. I love that you say that. I love that so many other people say it, but it never, and there's like a block that goes to it. And what it changes is that I'm the best that I could be. And that's what I'm gonna do now and always.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I guess last topic I want to touch on is the website stuff. You know, that is the most important, must do it, dear to my heart. How important has your website been? And genuinely, honestly, how has it helped your brand, you know, investing into that? I know we worked on that together, but you know, just curious, you know,
Sure.
no paid answers here, you know.
No, man. And then I just smile and laugh because I remember, I mean, just from again, from you cold messaging me, and then you showing up, a couple of days later at this gym, and you just hearing you talk and what you're passionate about was amazing. And truthfully, it shocked me because I didn't give you anything. I literally just told you what I've been talking about now, my vision for this business. And some of the best videographers, same thing. I'm very fortunate because I know that it's hard for me to put this into a pretty package. And I swear, within a week, you had the website 90% built in a way that I wish I could have explained to people. Like that was in my head, and you brought it with literally a 10-minute conversation and pulling all the stuff that I was already putting out there that I was trying to like, but there were tiny little like punches in the air, right? Like, okay, cool. You brought all those little things that weren't producing anything and put it into this beautiful package where now everybody can go funnels through it to book to see the vision in front of them. So for me, I think websites are still very, very important, and I think it's one of the biggest pain points with small business. They're just so expensive. They really don't have that personal touch to help them figure out what it is that is unique to their business. So working with the right professionals is absolutely important, and paying that extra money for people that are going to put in that extra work, because these are things that you're going to use for hopefully years and years and years. Same thing when I first hired my first videographer. Same thing for that. I didn't mind putting in that money because we use that in every chance we can, right? Compared to just pulling out my phone. And that stuff's already happening anyway. People do it, they share it to your stories, it gives you validity. But what happens is when you invest into your business, you're telling people you're not just investing in me. I'm not out here purchasing my first gold chain or my first sports car. I'm investing that back into the business because you believe in it. And if you believe in it, how can I not? So for me, it's an easy choice to invest back in this business. So I was able to see how marketing shifted. We started off doing all the kind of seeing the paper marketing start dying off. We started going door to door. Didn't get much business out of that. Then I started working for chiropractors, and we're doing a lot of in-person stuff. That worked really, really well. And I'm partnered up with the Texas Legends. We were able to get in front of these people's faces and show them what our work does. And that was great too, but that trades a lot of time. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand, is that you have to be efficient with your time, because the last thing I want to do after seeing, 7 people and having 2 or 3 meetings and dealing with all the other contractors that I have to deal with. The last thing you want to do is do creative stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you can't just waste your time, and start really being intentional about the way that you're marketing. So the in-person stuff is great. You don't have clients, and get out there and do it. It doesn't cost you anything, right? Or you can go UPS and design something on Canva. You have to use technology, man, like at whatever step you are, but don't think you're going to just sit there, because in 6 months, that same technology has already doubled in advancements. So you have to stay on top of the time. And for me, that's what I love talking to you, because you give me all these different ideas, and it helps pivot towards what I want. And what I'm realizing is, as the future keeps coming at us, more of the things that I wish I had 5, 10, 15 years ago are coming aboard now. So even though I planted those seeds back then, now I'm able to put it to fruition. And a lot of people are too. And if you don't get them now, somebody that has half your talent is going to be utilizing these e-tools. So for me, social media marketing is fantastic. It's going to be great for the company. So we'll be doing a lot of targeted ads to these type of neighborhoods where like ex-athletes are at, where people that need our services. So we'll be utilizing a lot of different marketing tools. Again, I still use my the paper stuff for these events, so that way people can take it home with them. But you know what? I have a QR code on it. It makes it super easy. QR code takes it to the website. You don't have to type anything in. You want ease of access. So find the things that work best for you that allow you to actually push them out there, and you'll get people in front of you. But word of mouth, customer service, and professionalism are still going to be tough.
Well, I think that was a great conversation. And, again, our goal here is to film episodes with, people of all different backgrounds, all different companies. Even though we're niche and we're specific into design and websites, to kind of meet clients at that intersection, to learn more about their industry, to explain what we do, and really try to be valuable to people in those industries. So hopefully we achieved that here today. And where can people find you? Where can people help you out?
And so, stay tuned. We're going to start a mentorship program. Again, I'm ready to take a step into this next level where I don't want to be competing. I don't want people to see us as a competition. MassageFit is always intended to be a resource to clients, to practitioners, to new practitioners that are interested. So check us out at MassageFitDFW.com. Again, soon we're going to be servicing all of DFW, and stay tuned for that mentorship program. I look forward to hearing from y'all.
And if you're curious, his website, we designed. So go check it out at MassageFitDFW.com. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, my efficiency.
Yes.